Hey folks, it's me, Miss Rogers, and we're going to talk about Unit 10 today. Talking about inverse trig ratios. Yes, we're still doing trigonometry. So inverse, if I can write, trig, I'm just telling you, I can't write today. Trig ratios. Inverse trig ratios. So inverse literally means to undo the original. So for example, if I wrote 5x equals 125, how would I undo that problem? I would have to divide by 5. That's the inverse. This is the inverse. So if I want to find the answer to a multiplication problem, I have to divide to find it. So let's talk about our trig ratios. If I want to find a side of a triangle, then I would use sine theta equals, what's sine theta again? Oh yeah, of opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, if I want to find the angle of a triangle, I would use sine to the -1, the inverse of sine of opposite over hypotenuse, equal to theta. Those look similar. What I flip? I flip-flopped the theta and the opposite over hypotenuse. What about cosine? If I want to know the side, I'd use cosine theta equal adjacent over hypotenuse. And if I want the angle, I would do cosine -1, the inverse of adjacent over hypotenuse, equal to theta. And for the last one, I bet you already know what it is. If I want to know the side, I would do tangent theta equal opposite over adjacent. If I want to find the angle, I will use tangent -1 of opposite over adjacent equal to theta. Not too hard, right? Let's do some practice. Number 1, got this triangle. It's a right triangle. On the side, I've got 15. On the hypotenuse, I've got 20. And I don't know this angle. I want to know that angle. So how can I figure it out? I'm going to call it theta. Well, what do I have? If I go across from the right angle, I have my hypotenuse. If I go across from my angle, I have my opposite. So which one of these up here has opposite over opposite and hypotenuse? Well, sine does, but am I looking for a side? No, so I need sine inverse, the inverse of sine. So what I'm going to do is a sine inverse, and I'm going to take and write down 15 over 20 parentheses equals theta. I'm going to get my handy calculator that's on my phone and unlock it. Okay, so I've got my calculator. Now I have arrows up here that let me unlock different things. Right now it's on the standard form. Let me clear out what's there. If I press these two arrows right here, do you see where I've got more functions I can deal with? Sine -1, cosine -1, tangent -1. So that's what I want to use. So I'm going to press sine -1. It says arc sine. That's what that means, arc sine. I'm going to type in 15 divided by 20, parentheses, enter. And I get theta, theta, equal to 48.59, blah, 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 blah. Now, normally we don't measure degrees in anything but whole numbers. So I'm going to round this to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to look at the number right there. Is it going to go up or stay the same? Well, this number says it's going to go up. So that number is going to change to 49. 49 what? Degrees. We're dealing with degrees. So this angle is 49 degrees. We can check ourselves by going cosine of 49 degrees, and we should get, not cosine, I'm sorry, clear, my bad. I'm right thinking this one, sine of 49 degrees, and we should get close to 75 because 15 over 20 is 75 degrees, 75. Did we get it? Yeah, pretty close. All right, number 2. Got this triangle, and it's a right triangle. And I've got 22 on this side and 37 over here. And I want this angle right here, theta. How am I going to work this one? Yes, you can't see it. There we go. So we've got this triangle. I've got 22 on this side and 37 on this side. Well, if I draw an arrow from my right angle, that's my easiest one to figure out. That one is my hypotenuse. If I draw an arrow from my angle that's given, or angle that I'm looking for, that's my adjacent. So if I look back at my table up here, which one has adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. But do I have an angle? No. I'm looking for an angle. So that would be cosine inverse. Inverse cosine. So I'm going to write cosine -1, that's my inverse, of adjacent 22 over hypotenuse 37. Close it, equal to theta. All right, so let's go to our handy calculator. Mine will unlock. There we go. Now I have to go back to my numbers. And so I'm going to type cosine -1, 22 divided by 37, close parentheses, equal. And I get 53.5, which I'm going to round up to 54 degrees. Not so bad, huh? Let's try one more, number 3. I think I'm going to squeeze one more in here. And throw it the regular way. That's okay. Oh, let's do 17. Y'all can see it. 17 and 47. And I want to know this angle right here. I'll keep it to the bottom angle. What do we know? What do we need to know? Well, If I draw an arrow across, let's keep with pink. I've been doing pink. Draw an arrow across. This is my opposite. And draw an arrow next door. That's my adjacent. Then I have to look up here and which one has opposite and adjacent. Tangent. So I'm going to use the opposite, the inverse of tangent. So tangent inverse of 17 over 47 equals theta. Get your favorite calculator out. And clear what's in there. We're going to do tangent -1, 17 divided by 47, close parentheses, equals. I get 19.88. So I'm going to round it to 20 degrees. Sounds about right, doesn't it? If this is 47 inches long, then this would be a tiny, tiny angle, wouldn't it? Okay, that's all the notes for today. Have fun on your homework. If you need help, let me know.